Yes.
You did a lot.
Good afternoon, Cedarfield family. I hope all is well with you on this fine St. Patty's Day, March 17th at 3 o'clock. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule away from festivities to listen to probably what will be a 30-minute live chat here. A following format we're going to follow. First, we're going to start off a little bit differently. We have some spiritual well-being. We're going to start off with a prayer here, followed by some administrative updates with COVID-19, our preparedness plan, and some other administrative updates. David Stewart is here to talk about a dining services update, and Sharon Brown is here to talk about a housekeeping update. And then I'll come back again with some other administrative updates. But for now, I want to introduce you to Aaron Miergi, who was originally from Tanzania. He serves or Kenya, excuse me. He serves a church here in the local area. He is now interning with us. We are just very delighted that he is here. He'll be here for the next several weeks, and he has a prayer to open up our live chat.
Thank you, Michael. Let us pray.
Aaron, take off your mask, and you can just speak up a little bit.
Thank you, Michael. Let us pray. Dear God, our Father in heaven, creator of all beings, we come to you this afternoon and give you all the honor and glory. Open our hearts, Almighty God, as we prepare to have this meeting. Let us be receptive and accommodative in our church today and receiving the reports we're going to be given by Michael and Tim. For the person that is hurting, for the one that is in pain, be the source of divine comfort. Quieten their troubled hearts and provide healing. For the one that feels lost and need direction, I pray that you be a wise counsel to them. Fill them with your presence, O Lord, and be the supernatural of strength. Cloud them with your love and peace, and let them be a shining light to their family, friends, and this community. Lord, graciously hear our prayers. Amen.
Thank you, Aaron. So for our Cedarfield COVID-19 update, good news with our dashboard, our Cedarfield dashboard across all levels of care for residents and team members here on March 17th is green, and there are no pending tests anywhere across the community. So all that's great news. I would encourage everyone to keep up the great vigilant work of some of the public health preventative measures that we have been doing for a year and 1 week now with great infection control, wearing our masks, being socially distant. All that is the name of the game at this point. A little bit more about our preparedness plan in a couple of minutes. I've been receiving some email inquiry from family members and from residents about our next vaccine clinic, and wanted to just share here publicly that Cedarfield does not have another vaccine clinic on the schedule. We have 75% of our team members who were provided the vaccine. We have 99% of our residents that have the vaccine, and we have another 80 people who come to work with Cedarfield in a variety of capacities that have received the vaccine. And so at this point, we are not on Walgreens' schedule to provide another vaccine here at Cedarfield. We are talking with the state and Walgreens on ways that we can get new residents and new team members access to the vaccine in the event that they have not already had it. But in terms of many of the emails we've received here over the last few days, we don't have another scheduled clinic. In terms of our evolving preparedness plan, hopefully everyone has had a chance to read that stapled document that we placed in everyone's cubby box and mailbox last week. I do want to point to the top of that particular page one more time. We highlighted it in red text, and it says the following. The CDC has issued new COVID-19 guidance as it relates to the general public, and Medicare now has come out with some guidelines for our industry, but there hasn't been any guidance through the governor, through the Department of Health, and or any other regulations by Medicare that would change what we have in our plan right now. The guidance that we do have is in concert with what the Virginia Department of Health has asked us to implement to keep people safe, and what Cedarfield is waiting for. We have a few emails out to the Virginia Department of Health to schedule some time with them over the next week or 10 days to sit down and review the plan that everyone now has, hopefully on your coffee table. And given other market conditions of percentages of people in Henrico County that are vaccinated, and any other further vaccinated folks here at Cedarfield, kind of putting that all together with them and coming up with our next layered plan. We keep talking about layering plans into Cedarfield operations throughout the springtime going into May. So I'm anxious to have that next meeting with them to talk about our next layer. As soon as I know that date, we will definitely communicate it with everyone so everyone has an awareness of when we're going to be talking with them about our next level of preparedness, or loosening up some of the restrictions that we have around the community. Speaking of our current preparedness plan, just to clarify a few items. Number one, the library, in the library section of the preparedness plan, it says the following: people are welcomed to read the newspaper. And that is true as long as you bring your newspaper with you. So at this point, multiple people touching a newspaper is just like people playing cards. The Virginia Department of Health has advised us to caution people and not have reading newspapers in the library or card playing at this time. So if anybody wants to bring your newspaper, more than welcome to do that in the library. The library committee is not reissuing the subscription for a variety of newspapers in that space. As it relates to visitation, I just want to thank everyone that's listening. Visitation has gone very well over the last 2 weeks. Our visitation vistas over in Sunshine Plaza, assisted living and healthcare, have gone very well. Families have really enjoyed those settings and the opportunity to meet with the residents. We will continue the visitation vistas over on the licensed side of the community. And currently in independent living, we have that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday visitation. When I talk with the Virginia Department of Health, I'm hoping that we can, again, layer in something different than that and expand it throughout the week. But for now, everyone's doing great. those of you that are listening that are actually a visitor, a family member or a friend coming to visit a resident at Cedarfield, thank you for lifting up our practice and following the guideline. It's been great here over the last 3 weeks in terms of visitation. And I would like to highlight on page 2, there is a section called Residents Leaving the Community. This section applies to folks that are not vaccinated, residents and team members. So if anybody has any questions about quarantining when you were to travel or not, or if you're traveling within the state or outside the state lines, there's some guidance here on page 2, and like I said, it really applies to only folks that are not vaccinated. Those of you that are vaccinated, this section does not apply to you. And then the last item for me really has to do with many inquiries over the last couple of days about the availability of space around Cedarfield. For example, right now we're broadcasting from Fellowship Hall, and in our preparedness plan it talks about a maximum number of people in here of 30 people. And it also listed on page 3, it talks about other spaces and maximum number of people in those spaces as well. And so I'm hoping that when we meet with the Virginia Department of Health next, that the governor will have new guidance in terms of the number of people that can congregate in space, and the Virginia Department of Health can help us clarify and loosen that maximum number up here in Fellowship Hall, in the Chatterbox, and in some other common space areas around the community to enable other groups and other activities to gather. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll have different guidance. But for now, the maximum number of people in these spaces, the reason for that is the 6-foot distancing between one another and trying to best we can comport with that public health preventative measure. Okay, that's all I think I have for the preparedness plan. If anyone needs a copy of the preparedness plan, we have copies of our preparedness plan on what is known as the ledge, which is right above Renee Langley. There's copies of that preparedness plan there. Next up is Sharon Brown, talk a little bit about some housekeeping updates.
Good evening. On Friday, I put out a memo to you all about the new. On Friday, I put out a memo to you all about the new task that's going in housekeeping department. On your cleaning day, your housekeeper will be leaving a comment card after their service, and this comment card is just asking you all, was your housekeeper a good housekeeper? They ask you questions. They ask you questions. Do you need anything while they was there? Was they on time? Did they do the service that they supposed to require? No, I'm not firing anybody. I'm not laying nobody off, and I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. This is card just to serve your service to do better for us. And you'll be getting this maybe from now on for maybe a couple weeks. Then after a couple weeks, I'm gonna scale it back to maybe a month. It's just to get an input on how we doing and how can we better service you. That's all. It's nothing to harm anybody. So if you have any question, please give me a call. I encourage you to fill out this card and place it in my in-house mailbox. And for the last couple of days, Yes, I have got these cards back. I've been getting good comments. No one needs to speak to me. They said the housekeeper is doing fine. So I hope they keep up the good work, and please encourage to do this card for me, please. Thank you, and have a good day, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Mr. Stewart?
Hello, everybody. I'm David Stewart, and I'm here representing Dining Services, and I have several announcements for you. First, and most exciting for us in dining, is that we have some new team members. We have 2 young ladies that have started work with us. One you will see if you're in the dining room this evening. Her name is Ella, and she has been through the first phase of our training and is going to be taking tables tonight. So if you see her, say hello to her and welcome her, please. As I've said for many, many years, the staff who come to work at Cedarfield and stay, almost without exception, stay because they so much enjoy our residents and the interaction with our residents. So do make a point to say hello to Ella. And another lady you'll be seeing shortly who's rotating through training is a lady named Chelsea. And she's got extensive experience. She's actually, I believe, a culinary grad and has worked what we call back of the house. And she has interest in learning what we call front of the house. So we're real excited about her. She's moving through training pretty quickly because she's got some good experience. So if you see another lady named Chelsea on the floor here shortly, please welcome her as well. We also are interviewing and working with some high school students, and we hope to have some high school students working with us very soon. So this is all great news for us in dining. Let's see, what else? Michael's comment about layering in service. This is just more of a funny thing. We are having our dining staff meeting today, and Steve said, I started looking forward to when we layer in additional services in the dining room, and I was just kind of wondering, where are the salt and pepper shakers and where are the lamps? If you remember a year ago, this came on us so quickly, and we had to change gears so quickly. We really had to move things around, tables, chairs, everything. And luckily, Steve knows where all that is, but it is kind of funny to think about. So, and my last item is I'm kind of excited about, and that is we're going to take a new approach to same-day reservations, and that is we have a new phone line available for that, and that number, we will be publishing this memo. This will start on Monday, upcoming, but that phone line is 474-8884. You don't have to remember that. You'll see it on TV. You'll get it in a memo form. So we'll have, as we do now, 2 forms of reservations available. Everybody's entitled to make an advance reservation at least, or once a week. And so I could call today and request a reservation for next Wednesday if I wanted to. But we also try to fill as many seats as we can by offering same-day reservations. Once the host staff comes in and understands how much space we have, and they've looked at all the floor plan and how everything lays out, they determine how many additional seats we have, and then we begin to offer same-day reservations. It can be a challenge for the host staff to answer the phones and keep up with all that. So what we're going to do is use this new phone line exclusively for same-day reservations. And so what we'll ask is if you want a same-day reservation, you call that phone line, leave your name, leave your phone number, and the host staff will call you back in the order in which the calls are received. So that'll make it very efficient, it'll make it very fair, and that will make it less confusing for the host staff who are trying to manage a bunch of different duties in the morning. So you'll be getting a memo about this, and it'll explain it all, but the one and only way to make a same-day reservation will be via this phone line, and so it'll be very easy for you to do. You don't have to dedicate your day to continuing to dial the dining room. You can just call, leave a message, and away you go, and we'll be calling you back. So those are my announcements for today. We are so glad that you're back in the dining room. As Michael said a week ago, he said, what are you most grateful for right now, this week? And I said that we're back to talking about food. that we're back to seeing residents in the dining room and enjoying what we do, and that is serving good food to people. And so it's great fun, and we look forward to the weeks and months to come to begin to layer services back in. And I think we can only imagine what it's going to be like to get the dining room open and Prima open and be doing special events again. So I know I'm excited about it, and I hope you are as well. So thank you for all you do for our team and our staff, and have a great day.
Thank you, David. If anyone has any questions while I review some of these other operational updates, feel free to use this number here off to your left-hand side. Renee is here. She has the phone, and we can go through any frequently asked questions for folks. First, just want to talk a little bit about the new household building that is coming online. Grand opening plans are in full effect. Matt Dameron, our Associate Executive Director, and Allison Zach, our Director of Philanthropy, have been at the helm, leading us to develop a really great, memorable week for the week of April 12th. April 12th is a Monday, and the 12th all the way through Friday, we will be having a series of grand openings for dignitaries, the Pinnacle Living Office, leading age folks, team members. Certainly every resident of Cedarfield will have a chance to walk through the building, and our partners. There's always a three-part equation for me in managing a community: residents, team members, and partners. Partners meaning all of the vendors that we use to bring to life the community, and area hospitals and discharge planners. And so we have a really great week being planned. We don't have all the T's and I's crossed, but it really should be a great week. Part of the grand opening, it's one thing to build a gorgeous new household building to replace the institutional nursing home, but it's another thing to understand programmatically and all of the organizational redesign that goes along with a very healthy culture change movement. And so during these grand openings, it's not going to be just a grand opening to go into the kitchen and maybe get some shrimp cocktail and look at all of the space. We're going to have different stations in the household building that talk about some of the main components to culture change, and which led us to master planning what we have now and building a household building. So it's all of those. It's the organizational design, it's the programmatics, and it's the design of the building all working in concert that really accelerates the culture change movement of eliminating institution and get back to what was meant when the founders of Pennsylvania started long-term care way back in the day of creating home, congregate living for elders. And so like I said, that grand opening will be very educational, not just a tour of the building itself. That's what I'm most looking forward to that week, in providing people with the education of what led us to build this beautiful building that we have, and that we will operate it under a very different standard for decades to come, and helping quite honestly the Richmond area look up to what long-term care should be, and giving people a reason to come and visit and celebrate a new innovative way to deliver long-term care, because we're formally joining with the development of this household building, households that have been built really quite honestly around the world that have been operating under this philosophy and model. So pencil in your calendar, April 12th. We hope by the end of this week or the beginning of next week to deliver a firmer schedule for folks of when certain groups are going to get into that building on that week. Speaking of the household building, We will operate that household building the following week on April 19th. Part of the next phase of this master planned expansion has to do with renovating our current healthcare spaces, health services spaces, namely memory care, assisted living, and what we now have as our long-term care on the 4th floor. And so the first phase to this next renovation is renovating our memory support neighborhood. So the residents that lived in that neighborhood currently will move to the household building on April 19th. And then for the next 5 months or so, we are going to go down to the memory support area and renovate it to a contemporary standard. And so just wanted to give folks that radar. The families that have a loved one that live in memory support, we have been communicating with them for the last 3 months, 4 months or so. They actually all met here in the fellowship hall for an opening meeting about this transition. And then we've been meeting with each family specifically about their loved one's move on April 19th and what we intend to do to make it, as we hope, a seamless transition and there's no transition trauma. And so all of that commences on April 19th. In the next 2 weeks, at this live chat, I'm gonna outline the next 2 years worth of health services renovations that we will go through with a new general contractor. I am very pleased to tell you all that we finally signed the contract with a company called Hourigan, Hourigan. You'll probably see, now that I've mentioned it, you'll probably see signs all across Richmond. It's a local firm. You'll see signs around Richmond, Cornerstone and Hourigan. They're all one particular company. Mark Hourigan, the CEO, has been here several times reviewing this next phase along with his team. And I'm really excited to take this next step in our master plan expansion along with this partner named Hourigan. To give you one tidbit about the first meeting that we had with Hourigan at the Pinnacle Living Office, there was about 17 of us at the board table, and they were presenting their case of why they should be awarded the contract to begin with. And for the first time in my 24-year career, listening to general contractors pitch why they should be awarded a certain contract, in that presentation, this particular company mentioned the following word 19 times, and that word was resident. As simple as that sounds, most of the construction world forgets about who they're building for. But Hourigan mentioned the word resident 19 times in that initial request for information. And they have lived up to a very authentic, genuine, resident-centered approach to helping us renovate these spaces. I am very excited to partner with this company. They will be with us along the way in ribbon cuttings and or problem resolutions with families as things might come up, along with management. So they'll be right there with us problem solving. So I'm really excited for this next 2.5-year phase. Our paving project, it's a 7-day project. We started the green zone today, which I think it's 3:30. I think they're actually wrapping up. They were able to expedite the green zone repaving 2 hours ahead of schedule, mainly because of how flexible and considerate the residents who have parked their cars in that green zone were all last night of moving your cars, and enabled them to just hit the ground running at 7 o'clock this morning. And so the green zone should be complete already, striped and everything. We have a meeting with A1 Asphalt later on today to talk about the remaining 5 different phases of this particular project. And it looks like, as I checked before this live chat, the weather should be 60, 70 degrees Monday through Thursday of next week. So we are probably going to try to fit in the remaining pieces of all of this paving, repairing, and restriping project in those 4 days, namely the parking area in and around the Parkview entrance, which is the black zone and the red zone, and all of the cul-de-sacs on the lane, which are the yellow zones, and then the lane itself, which is, I think, the brown zone, if I remember correctly. So we're going to try to finish all that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Tomorrow, I will publish another memo explaining the timing of each particular phase. So by 5 o'clock tomorrow, look forward to a memo about the next couple of phases of the paving plan. And I think that's all I have. We're going to go into frequently asked questions. Looks like we have a couple from, thank you, Renee. The first question has to do with the paving plan. Will we on the lane have egress for doctor's visits, etc., during the days of the paving? And the answer is yes, you will. Those of you that live on the lane in the cottages, and quite frankly, those of you that live in the main building that utilize the lane to leave the community, if you have a doctor's appointment or have something scheduled for next week, please do not cancel any appointments. They are here at our convenience, and so driving your car over milled asphalt is perfectly fine for the asphalt and the car, and so as people need to leave, they're just going to move their equipment accordingly so that you can enter and exit the campus accordingly. So no need to cancel any plans next week if you have appointments throughout the week. Second question is, relates to dining services. At what time will the new same-day phone line open? 10 o'clock as previous or another time? The dining phone line. Didn't he just address that?
Same time.
I think he just addressed it. Yeah, it's the same. David just talked about that during his time up here at the podium. Okay, any other questions? Eddie, you have any questions? Dolly, any other questions? No? Renee, any questions? If anyone has any questions out there, those of you that are near or far, please feel free to call the administration suite, and we'll just answer any and all of your questions just as soon as we can. Oh, I do have one more announcement. So one other memo that is going to come out this week. This month is Women's History Month. It's a really important month. And Cedarfield has been celebrating this month since March 1st with the team members who work here. And so since the first week in March, we have highlighted 4 particular women who have lifted up our mission in support of aging services over a career of 15, 20 plus years here at Cedarfield. And throughout the rest of the month, we have 3 other team members that we're honoring in terms of celebrating Women's History Month and celebrating women who actually work at Cedarfield. So another memo that you'll be receiving this week is a picture of these particular highlights with a little biography of why these folks were chosen. So by the end of the week, look forward to that flyer. Again, as you see these particular women around the community, please give them a little elbow and thank them for all that they've done in support of aging services right here at Cedarfield. If anyone has any additional questions, please feel free to call down to the administration suite. Our doors are always open to you as well. Please stop by. Renee and I and Allison love visitors. We'll love to hear from you and talk through whatever question you have. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday and a better week, and we'll talk with you soon. Thank you.